Hey everybody, Deb Scannell here. I have a few images in front of me and I'm going to show you a few tricks. I am still perfecting these myself, so if I screw up, accept my apologies in advance, all right? But there's a few, I think, good tricks worthy of mentioning here. Now, right on the onset, I'm probably going to start getting into more advanced stuff. I will lead. For those of you that need the beginning, I'm going to be posting very basic tutorials that help you understand Photoshop, because if you don't understand the basics of how layers work, this is going to start to get a little bit confusing. However, it's how I learned, so continue to watch. After several hundred of these, mine and other people, you will start to get it, and it's taking me a few years to really get my head around the understanding of it. I mean, intellectually, I understood it. Conceptually, I understood it. But I didn't quite understand what to do first and then second and then third, you know what I'm saying? Like the specific steps. So my hope is that after, I do several dozen of these and you watch them over and over and over again and watch the other ones that I'm going to be posting, you'll start to understand it and get it. And the good thing about videos is you can just obviously, pause them, rewind them, and say, wait a minute, what? I didn't get that, and start again. Okay, so here we begin. I have a series of images that start here. I got up, oh gosh, very early one morning. I think this is about 4 something in the morning, up the Blue Ridge Parkway. Let's see, this was October 12th. 2016, so last fall. And I actually met someone up there that I never met before, but I knew of. His name is Jim Ruff, and he does some really good time-lapse videos. And he was there before me. I didn't know he was going to be there. We just happened to run into each other. And I pull up, and I've got my headlights on and whatnot, and he's looking at, giving me the look, like, could you turn your headlights off? So I walked over, and we introduced ourselves to each other. And, he knew of my work, and I knew of his work, so it was kind of nice. And we spent the morning together just kind of shooting. He was doing some beautiful time-lapse, and I was doing some of this. And I taught him a trick. He noticed that I was putting my finger, and that's my finger right there, in front of the lens. Here you can see it a little bit better. And I was blocking out the sun, or the sunspot. So in other words, here's the shot, and you get this sun flare, right? Not good. You want these rays, but you don't want the little, what we call flying saucers, okay? So I would put my finger in the middle of it during a succession of brackets. So I had my, overexposed, underexposed, good for the sky, and then I'd do the same thing while my finger was there, right? And then I'd end off again and continue on shooting that way. So in this image, for instance, great rays, and each lens will produce slightly different rays. You will get, slightly different amount depending on the angle of the sun, how far into your lens it is, what kind of nano coatings there are on a lens, and your sensor. All different kinds of factors key in here. But the point of this is this trick. So put your finger, take a few brackets, overexposed, what your camera thinks is correctly exposed, and then underexposed. And then put your finger in there and do the same thing. Don't put it too far down. Notice I'm only right where the sun is, so the rest of it is clean. Okay? Now we're going to move forward here. You can see I did complete a few of these. Just absolutely gorgeous, gorgeous moment. Beautiful soft sky. Just dynamite. This is a lot of sun flare happening here. All right, so we're going to move forward, and here's another shot from that morning that I completed. And here was the one I did it from, so before, after. And this is not a lot of work, guys, not a lot of work in Photoshop. Okay, gosh, where is the one I want to work on? Where is it? Is this it? I think this is it. Yeah, all right. So we've got these 3 images. We've got this one, where my finger is right there at the sun, and watch it on the back of your LCD screen. Put your finger there, and you have to kind of hold it, you know. And let's see, this was, oh, 1/3 of a second. So that's not that long to hold your finger there. You want to keep it, you know, kind of steady. And this was an underexposed shot, so this was 1/80th of a second. I'm at ISO 100 at f16 with the 16 to 35 Zeiss lens on my little Sony A60 300. So great sky, but a little bit of sun flare right there, a little bit right there, but great beams. And this, of course, has, which one is it? This one has really good beams. Now, most people would just take this one in and maybe blend this sky into it and kind of go from there. But I'm going to do that. But I'm going to show you a way in Photoshop to blend using luminosity masks and how to get this out without having to clone stamp it. Or any other, like here's another like distorted sun flare area right here. Notice that this shot does not have that right here. All of this is clean, so you can really mask this whole thing in if you wanted to, and you have clean. But I kind of like those rays, so I'm going to keep most of this in and just carefully blend back in some of the other one. And then take the sky from the better sky shot, okay? So basically what I've done on each one of these already is I clicked on my exterior standard, which basically just does some general stuff, and I tweak it according to what I think I need, you know, for each shot. All right, so I saved us some time. In Photoshop, I went ahead and brought them in. Now, you're going to see my space look a little bit different here, okay? This is, I just want you guys to know that you can arrange your panels any way you want. Like if you grab this and pull it out, see how you can move it, and when you get that blue line, you can dock it back in there. I want you to know that you can do that. And I named this as my new workspace just yesterday. I've named it Deb's Robust Space, and I have Deb's Workspace, which eliminates this panel right here. So here's our regular layers panel. And here's the Lumensity that I've been talking about, which is a luminosity action-based panel that gives you a one-click deal. So does TK. This is Tony Kuiper Actions, okay? Their new one just came out a week or two ago, I think. And it's TK V5. And it's got everything is individual. Whoops, let me get this back here. They're all individual. Didn't mean to do that. Let's get Rapid Mask on. All individual modules now. So Rapid Mask is one, the Infinity Mask is another, the Intro is another, Control. You have all these things, way too much for me to get into, and I don't even fully understand it all yet. I'm still learning this particular workflow. But there are a few things that I really like. And what I've been doing over the past few days is using both on one image, and you can do that. These are just tools. Think of them as tools like what you have over here. It's just another tool to help you get the achieved result you're looking for. So, or the desired result you're looking for, how to achieve it. So what I've done is, let's just start here. I brought the 3 images in. I did my usual Command L, which is auto align. You can also get there, where is it? Right here, auto align layers. It's not bold right now because I don't have all of them selected. You need to have them all selected, all eyeballs on, and everything selected in order to do that. And you can see, you know, it was really windy at the top here. We were up at Graveyard Field, so what is that? I don't know, so 4,000 something, somewhere up there. And you can see I've got a little bit of alignment issue here. So even though you're locked down on your tripod, you know, any time you touch your camera, even a little bit, you're going to get that slight micro. That's like 2 pixels or 3 pixels off, but enough to screw it up. So anyway, what I've done is align them. The next thing I did is I grabbed a mask, and I'm going to hide this mask for a second when my computer catches up here. Let's see if I can do that. Or is it Shift? Yeah, there we go. Okay. Whoops. Sorry. Command Z. Shift X. All right, let's just Command D, deselect that. All right, let's start over. Try starting over here. So we have our bottom layer, which is great for the majority of it, but we got the good sun rays, but the unwanted sun flare. This shot has the good sky, okay? And this shot up here has the finger in it. So, you know, the no sun flare, no, the clean lower half. So what I've done is I've taken this file right here, all right? And I thought, okay, let's start with this one. So I unchecked these, and now I'm on this layer. And basically what I did is I thought, well, this could be called brights or it could be called midtones, you know, in relation to the rest of this. But I ended up doing a midtone 4, okay? And then I clicked on this guy right here, which opens you know what, I think I will, instead of trying to talk about it, I'm going to start over for you guys. So I'm going to delete those layer masks. Okay, here we are starting scratch from the beginning. So we're going to start here. And I think I went to, nope, not midtone. I went to lights. Lights 4, lights 1. Okay, lights 1, lights 2. Lights 2 is good. What you're looking for is a very crisp delineation between your mask. So you want white and black. White and black is a perfect mask. But you see how this is gray? It's not really white. But if you can click on this right here, or you can click on this guy, and this will open the levels dialog box right here, okay? And now I'm going to move the brights over. Now we're getting more white, more white, more white, but that looks good. Now we got to bring the blacks back because I need that start and stop. You know what I mean? Like that's probably as good as I'm going to get. But watch this. While the mask is open, if I click my B for brush, actually click OK here, B for brush, and I'm going to paint out, okay, whoops, wrong color. Got to go to black. So switch it or hit the X key on your keyboard. I'm just going to paint out all of this. And rather than 29%, we're going to go with 100% so it's quicker. Boom, 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 boom. Okay. Yeah. And let's see. I'm going to bring this back open for a minute. Yeah, I want a little bit more of those. Let's see if I can get that. Okay. All right, it's a little bit of a different mask than I had before, but let me see if this will work. I even forget what I picked before. Maybe I did it a different way. Anyway, this will still work. So now we've got the mask selected, right? Well, it's actually not selected, it's made. So we're going to go to select. Okay, now we've selected the mask and we got the marching ants. You see those little marching ants, guys? Now last time the marching ants came further on down into those sun rays, but we'll pick that up in just a second. So now we want to apply, think of it this way, we want to apply this sky to our best layer that has the least amount of work, which is this one. So turn this layer on. We haven't applied it yet. We have to click apply. Okay, now it applied it, but it inverted it in the opposite way, and that's no problem. Make sure you're on the mask because it applies it when you're on here. See that white bounding box? Make sure you're on the mask, and as always, to reverse it or inverse it, we go Command I. Now, that inversed it. But obviously you can see there's some problems, all right? But what we need to do is, whoops, wrong color here. We need to paint back in some of the area by using a few things. The feather, so see how by changing the feather, and this is in your properties panel, we're smoothing that out. So we're going, hey, you know what? Don't be so, because I had a black and a white. There should have been some gray in the transition, right in this area. Should have been a little bit of transition, and there wasn't. But no worries. I like to do these things on purpose so you guys could see how to fix it. So there we are, all right? And let's see, the density controls how much of each mask comes through. So like this would be just that image without the sky, but we want the sky. So let's bring the sky back. And this is just a little bit of a dance. You just kind of play with these two right here. I think about right there looks good, okay? All right, now we need to take care of that little thing there. So we're going to turn this mask, excuse me, it's not a mask, this image on. And see how clean the greens are? And that's because there's no sun streaming on it in terms of what the camera is seeing, because my finger's in front of it. It's like I blocked the sun out, so there's great contrast. But it doesn't have those really nice sun flare lines that we like. See how the green is more muted and orange and softer here? We got to be careful of that, because see the difference in the color? All right, so we'll go to this layer, come down here, we'll make a mask, all right, and we're going to Command I to invert it. All right, so now we've hidden this layer, and what are we going to do? We're going to brush it in, and I'm going to go with a low flow here and do a little bit. Notice how small my brush is? A little bit at a time, because I don't want to hit those. Oops, do you see what I'm doing? I'm painting with black. Do not paint with black on black. You'll get nothing. Hit the X key now. We have a white brush. Now we're just going to paint that out just a little bit. But be careful, because notice how it kind of is a little bit different color green. So I'm just going to kind of blend that in a little bit there. I'm going to blend it in a little bit here and there. And there's a little weird sun dude right there. Let's get that out. And I think that's it. I'm going to leave it like that. I don't know if this, I don't think we can get, nope, we can't get that out. Okay, all right. So there we are. I'm relatively happy with that. So that is the composited image. Now from this point, we could start to do a few things. And I'm not going to take this all the way to the end, because I don't want these videos to get too long. But I am going to show you a few things that I would do at this juncture. I would make a curves adjustment. I'll make this a little smaller. Whoops, that's like one. Let's get the Photoshop and bring this up. I want to make sure you guys are seeing the bottom of this. So I have my properties panel kind of locked in here now. Before I didn't, I would have it as a flyout. I like it locked in, even though, yes, I get less real estate here. I'm working on a huge screen. So for me, for my viewing purposes, it's fine. Now it may come through the video a little bit small, but if you have a large screen, I like to have all of this available to me because I use it. Okay, so we made a curves. I'm going to come in here, and there's 3 eyedroppers, the black, the gray, and the white. I'm going to click on the white, and this does not always work, so you have to be careful. Find something that's white. Okay, and that actually got rid of all my beautiful, gorgeous, reddish sky, and it gave me more blue, but that might be a little more accurate. Let's see, do we like it? I actually like the softer look. But what I'm going to do is I like a little bit of it because it cleaned it up. I'm just going to bring this back, just bring back a little color right there. And then I'll click that again, curves, and I'll go to the black. And I'll try to find something dark right there. Okay, now we're talking. Look at that. That set the black point pretty darn good. Now, it might be a little bit deep. I don't think it is, but maybe we just bring that back a little bit. And I'm relatively happy with that. I'm pretty happy with it. Okay, let's see. I mean, you can call this image done. Now, if I wasn't talking, that would have taken me about 4 minutes. But there's a few more things that we can do here. Let's see what else I can show you. Yeah, you know, there's a time. The time comes when you have to know when the image is done, and I think it looks pretty good. I'm going to go right here and do a color balance, and I'm going to kick up the reds just a little bit. See how it gets a little bit more magenta back in here? It's pulling out some of that, and maybe bring in a little bit more yellow. Okay. And this isn't bringing in yellow or bringing in red. It's the overall mid-tone shift of the balance of color. If I wanted to bring more color in, like a green or a red or a yellow, I would go to hue and saturation. I want to make that distinction. And if I went to reds, for instance, and pumped up the reds, now you can see where all the red is, all right? And let's say I like what it's doing up here. Of course, it's way too strong. And we just bring in a little bit of red, okay? And let's say we only want the red right there. Well, let's bring it up a little bit more. We're on our own layer, so we just Command I, invert that, so essentially take it away, and then let's selectively paint it in. So now we're painting in the reds just where we want them. And see the mask? That's me painting in the red just where I want it, right there. Okay. There we are. Let's see what else we can do. We have to start a new mask now because I painted that one. So let's go to hue and saturation again. And let's look at the greens. Yeah, I didn't think there'd be too many greens. Okay, so that did nothing. That's great. Yellows. Now this is going to do a lot. All right. So where, if we took yellows out, look how much yellow is in that image. Isn't that amazing? I'm going to go about right there, and again, Command I, and I'm just going to paint it into some of this area right here, because the greens hold a lot of yellow right there. Well, in the morning it does anyway. I just want this to look a little more lively. Now, let me just show you something. I'm not particularly fond of doing this on this image, but let's say for your taste, the sky was a little bit blue. You wanted more of this color right there. Start a new layer right down here. New layer. You can name it or not. If you want to name it, you can name it sky. Okay. And with the brush, B for brush, we're going to hold the Option on a Mac, Alt on a PC. Now we have the eyedropper. I'm going to come in about right here. Yeah, right about here. And now we have that color like on our clipboard, so to speak. Okay? And we're going to change the blend mode from normal to color. All right? And with a low flow, we're just going to paint a little bit more of that in. See how it's doing that? So we essentially kind of got rid of that little bit of blue, and the more you go over it, the more it does it. Okay? Now, I think that went way too far, and you can see it right here. See that? So this is before, after, and I just wanted to show you that. We could just bring this back to something that makes you happy. Yeah, we'll just add a little bit. Okay? A little more. All right. Ah, gosh, I think that's it. Going back to the Luminosity panel, very quickly you can sharpen and do a vignette, which I'll show you right now. Oh, one other thing I want to show you. This is pretty cool. Hit the L key to get your lasso, or come over here and make sure it's this lasso, not the polygonal lasso. Let's say we want to add a little contrast right around here, right? I'm just going to create this little loop, and guys, I'm using a mouse, okay? Nothing fancy here. Now we have it lassoed. We have an active layer because it shows us that we have the green, the selection button is turned green. Click on contrast. Over here, or on my other monitor, up comes this. Yes, we want to feather the mask. Click on OK. And boom, look at that. We have contrast. Now here's our properties panel so we can see how much contrast. Now you can increase this or decrease it. But what I love about what Greg Benz did is he gave us an opacity slider and only defaulted it to 35%. So we can just come in here and crank that up. Look at that contrast. Like, watch this, guys. Before, after. Oh my God, before, after, with a natural feather. All right, now I'm going to bring that back. It's about right there. And let's say we wanted to, let's see, we have to be on the mask. Yeah. Let's say we wanted to make more feather. Okay, just increase that. Or decrease it, however you wanted to work on it. Go back here. All right, so we did contrast, and now we're going to do a vignette. All you simply do is click on vignette. You will get that dotted area showing you, hey, this is the vignette, and this is how much of the vignette is affected, basically the mid-tones. We're going to feather it, yep. And there we are. So before, after, before, after. Pretty cool, huh? Sharpen. click on Sharp. And this actually has a lot of neat properties, which I played with yesterday. I don't have a real hard building or anything in here to really show you some of the halos that could occur. Sometimes when you sharpen, you get halos around edges of high contrast, like a building. When it's a building in a sky, like backlit, you'll get this halo, this bright line. And Greg Benz did a great tutorial recently on how to use this. I can't go into it here because I don't have the right image, but I'll post it on the page and you can have a look at it, and it'll get rid of those highlights in about 30 seconds, not even. Okay, so right now I'm just going to do a high pass. And it gives you, once it generates the rendering, it'll give you a dialog box. And it kind of auto-suggests. Now, a lot of the times it goes to 0.5, which I don't kind of agree with. I usually bring that up a little bit. And what I'm looking for is just a trace outline. That's all. Just a trace outline of everything. And 1.8 is normally where I'm at. 1.9, 2.2, 2.4. Very rarely am I over 3, and very rarely am I under 5. It just depends on the image. So click on OK. And you don't have to go to sharpen, overlay. It already does it. So normally, you have to go to sharpen, then click on that, and then say OK, and brings it in. Then you've got to get a layer mask, and then go to overlay. Now all that is simplified with one button, sharp. Very simple. And if you feel it's too strong, just simply bring it back, just like usual. Okay, I'm going to zoom in here. Before, after sharpening. Before, after sharpening. Yep, I think it looks good. And let's give a look in here on the sky. I'm going to start a new layer and go to the J tool, which is right here, spot healing brush, and I'm going to look at the things I don't like. Wow. That might be my monitor. Yep, that was my monitor. Okay. Well, there's a little contrail from probably a jet. Let me just get rid of that. That looks better. And sometimes I get rid of these little, even though it's part of the sky, sometimes it's just distracting. There's a little dot, I don't know what that's about, and another one there. Okay, that's it. So basically right now, I would Command F to flatten this, Command S to bring it back into Lightroom, and it's going to go ahead and flatten the image, saving some megabyte space, and then go ahead and save it. And when we get to Lightroom, it should be right there, and there it is. And I'm going to flag it as a pick, P on your keyboard for pick. Okay? Now, of course, we align these images, so we have a little left over here, so I would just come in here and crop this in and center it up like that. Make sure I got the crop off all edges, click on done. Now once you're back, if you want to do some things, no problem. You can cool the image down, you can warm the image up, you could add some magenta, you can add some green. You can kind of do whatever you want. You still have full control, obviously. You have your whole panel left. Effects, you could add more of a vignette, okay, really draw the eye in. Anytime I add a vignette, I always bring that feather up because I don't like to see that. Don't do that. Never do that. Okay. And if there are any highlights in the corners that you guys want to maintain, make sure you bring your highlight right here all the way up. And we never even touched the dehaze. There was no need to. So that's a wrap on this image. Hopefully you got a few things out of it. Namely, put your finger right in the middle of the sun to cover the sun. I teach this in my workshops, and we practice it at the workshops. So hopefully I'll see you guys up at Water Rock Knob and Craggy Gardens for some sunset workshops this year coming up. And I have some great waterfall workshops, including one at Sokol Falls in the spring coming up very, very soon, okay? I'm just waiting on the final day because I'm going to go there in a few weeks and see how it's doing. It's more of a April thing than a March thing. It's actually late April, sometimes early May. So we'll keep an eye on that, and I hope to see you guys at the workshops where I can work with you on a one-on-one, and keep practicing and watching for more tutorials coming up. Thanks, I appreciate it. Take care.